84,000 different beings within you. That's what it is. When you think I'm alone, there are 84,000. So whatever you do alone, be aware of it. There's 84,000. And if they're true of you, and there will be doubled 84,000. So really, that's the reality. So always you say, well, I'm not important, doesn't matter me. So think about 84,000 alone with you. I don't mean we have 84,000 split personality. Again, don't misunderstand me. Okay? 84,000 independent living beings within our physical condition as human being of this continent. That's what we have. That's why we have those illnesses. That's why we have comfort. That's why we have all kinds of things experiencing in our body, because there's so many involved. And how can we function all these 84,000 together to gain the joy within our body, to gain the comfort, to gain the peace and harmony? That's why it's difficult. That's why the mental peace becomes difficult. Because, can you imagine to manage 10 people together? How difficult it is. Forget 10, 3, 2, even 2. Even 2, how difficult it is. One would like to say yes, one would like to say no, one would like to have lights on, one would like to have lights off. Yeah, one would like to have a TV on, one would like to have a TV off. So that's for 2. So then, you have all these 84,000 within you, so that becomes difficult. No doubt. Nothing to be surprised, because, because our one person's joy and happiness depends on the 84,000 mind coming together. Function. And that's also why this peace, harmony is becoming difficult. Spiritual path that Buddha gave, path that Tibetans brought to the non-Tibetan land, whatever it is. It is what we call a Tibetan Buddhism, brings that. That is sort of the gift we try to give it to the world. That's what Tibetan Buddhism really carries. And there's a way and a means of doing it. And have done it by millions of them, have obtained higher development. It can. Even in our usual world, it can. It's not easy, but if you look at the leaders, the great leaders, like Gandhi, or like those people, they've been able to bring millions of people together simultaneously. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. It is possible. It's happening. It's happening. It's done. So that's exactly what we do on the spiritual path too. When you talk about the joy and happiness, we may think about one individual, one physical body, one mind. True, but not true. Yes, true, one person. But along with that, that much living beings moved together. So these are the important points. This is the reasons why we not only need a spiritual path, but we need good one and the right one. And how did they do? How they do? Where and how they do is cutting down the negativities and the building the positivities. For sort of a simple way of putting it. But cutting down negativity, when you say it, it is easy. When you do it, it's very difficult. So many things are against cutting down negativities. Say, if you want to cut down your anger, it's not easy. We can tell people, don't get angry. Your anger is a total destruction. And we know, and that person who you're telling your anger is a total destruction, they knew too. It's not that they don't know, but they cannot manage. They cannot manage. Why? Why? Because they're addicted to it. They become part of their thing. Sometimes they go crazy, almost behave like a mad person, or sometimes it becomes like a different person altogether for that period. It's not split personality, but that powerful emotion is taking over that period of that individual completely. So that emotion took over, and whatever that emotions, reactions are, that person is acting according to that. People who get so upset and pick up, fight, and kill somebody, unless you are sort of mercenaries or something, they don't want to kill you, kill anybody. They don't want to hurt anybody. But at that moment, when their mind is being occupied by that emotion, they don't know what had happened. That doesn't mean an excuse in law, but honestly, that really the person doesn't know what's happening. Because that negative emotion in which you are addicted becomes so powerful, took over every other thoughts, ideas, and emotion. Even seeing, hearing, smell, taste, all of them are occupied by that emotion. I have it's funny, there's a Tibetan guy, this is in the 70s, a Tibetan guy who was a guerrilla leader in Tibet, and he had a Chinese dissident, Chinese military leader, a dissident, a very close friend of him, and that Chinese guy joined that Tibetan, what they normally call rebels. Anyway, the dissident group. And they're together, they worked together, they fought together, they did everything. When they got to India, the government of India separated them. One was sent to northern India, the other was sent to southern India. They are not permitted to contact each other for 18 years. At the end of the 18 years, and I think the guy in the south was permitted to go to north to see his friend. And I think he stayed there a month. And they're very good friend, close friend. Something happened. And the guy in Dharamsala, his wife went to bathroom, and then the Chinese guy also went to bathroom, and the Tibetan guy who's hosting got so jealous, certainly, and picked up a knife and strapped to him. And tomorrow morning, when they realized he had stabbed that guy 18 times, he didn't even know. So when the negative emotions take over, sometimes that happened. And the normal talk among the Tibetans, traditionally, they say, oh, he got ghost in, what do you call that? A possession, yeah. It's not a ghost possession. It is the jealousy that took over. And so all other emotions are completely subdued. Awareness, understanding, alertness, all are gone under the control of one powerful, either jealousy or hatred or whatever. In this case, it's a total nothing but jealousy. And that is not only because I happen to know that story, so I share that. But that happens here in the West too. You all know the number of stories people do that. Happens to be. Right? The fear is another one that completely take over and blind. Hatred is another one. Obsession is another one. So we get all this problem because of that, what I told you right from the beginning. Me, grasping that. And that is the source where it's all coming from. Religion or spiritual or whatever you may call it, they're supposed to deal with that. Either you worship and pray, helps, or you meditate, analyze, and title caught red-handed, and refute. And that is how we correct ourselves. When we correct ourselves, that is Dharma, according to us, to the Buddha. That is Dharma. Dharma, if you don't know, Dharma means religion's activity according to Buddha. That is Dharma. Whether you worship or not worship or whatever it is, you may claim to be Christian or non-Christian or atheist or whatever it is. It is. Buddhist or non-Buddhist or whatever. But when you're handling that within you, and that is exactly what Buddha calls Dharma, is that. That is how you're helping yourself. That's how you help others. That is true practice. The practice doesn't have to be getting up, sitting down, and doing all that. You don't have to be. How to sit, how to walk, how to stand, it's not a practice. Maybe it's practice, but that's what I'm not talking about it. When we are talking about the practice, that's what we are talking about. How to handle our mind, how to handle our addiction, how can I be independent? When you say seeking freedom, that's what it is. How can I have freedom for myself out of the control of those addictions? This is the purpose, and this is the theme of practice. This is what Tibetan Buddhism is all about.